Hey everyone, it's Foxkey, and I'm here to give you a bit of a quick guide on Lycaon, because I happen to have gotten him, and I don't intend to get every character in the game, so I'm just going to give you some tips I have in confidence, based on what I've personally done in the game with the characters, in actual gameplay and in the training room. So, how do you play Lycaon? If the name of the game is, if you have something that can be charged, do charge it. Usually his uncharged moves are not worth using, or just straight up bad, unless it's his ultimate or unless you need a fast EX skill for some reason. So you want to make sure they always look like this, and not like this. These are bad, don't do those. Alright, tips and tricks. I've got a few for you. With Lycaon's basic attack, to stay consistent with your charge attacks, make sure you are constantly buffering your hold down inputs, because you need to hold down the attack button to charge them. Make sure you are constantly holding those inputs during the latter half of your animation for your previous charge attack that you already let out. This way you can't accidentally input a physical normal attack in between. For example, if you do that, it can look like that, where your first kick is physical and your second kick and third kick is ice, and you're obviously losing the days that comes with that first kick, and you don't want to do that. Second trick or tip is you have an indicator for exactly when you're allowed to release Lycaon's charge attack while it is still charged, and that is the little clicky noise that comes out of his feet is the indicator that you can release a charge attack and have it be the charge attack itself, and not like a physical normal attack in disguise. So that will allow you to save a little bit of time during his attacks. And then the third tip is his last hit in the combo has 2 charge levels, and the first one is obviously faster, and the second one is slower, but as a result has more stun. So when should you use both? The first one is a little bit faster, so that means obviously if you're trying to time Lycaon's attacks against an enemy attacking you, the first one will typically be faster and let you get out quicker. You could just dodge cancel, you say. Well, you don't actually want to do that, because Lycaon's dash attack sucks. You never want to use this. It's quite bad, you can't charge it, it doesn't do anything. So dash cancelling something isn't really that good, because you either have to wait a long time or you have to do a bad move, and you'd rather not do that. So based on your situation, you can choose to use the level 2 charge attack or the level 1 charge attack on your last hit. And what you can also do is get to the level 3 and swap off if you want, to combine the stun you gain from that charge attack into another skill. So let's say you're using like Soldier 11 skill alongside Lycaon's level 3 charge. Not that you would, but you know, just an example. Another point is that with the faster level 1 charge attack, you can get to a heavy attack faster. Now, you might be familiar with what light and heavy attacks are in the game, and that is when they're used against you typically. So if it's a light attack and you parry it by swapping, then it'll only consume 1 of your assist points in the bottom there, the yellow dial. And if it's a heavy attack, it'll consume 2. So with your characters, your light attacks will never ever put an enemy into the stun state. They will not do it. They can be like full stun, flashing, bars going down, not happening. But your heavy attacks will, and they are the only ones that will. So if Lycaon gets to the slam faster, naturally he will break them faster. And while that might not seem that important, it is relevant in game modes where you are trying to race against the clock and get a faster time, because you're obviously stunning big bosses, lots of enemies. The faster you stun each one and each time, the better it is. The actual difference in the level 1 versus level 2 stun is about, if you see the points up there, from 0, it should be about 36. So wait for the enemy to come back. Keeping in mind, I do have Lycaon's signature on. The proof is right there for you. You see my hair is glowing. So that does change it a little bit. If you don't have it, that's fine. He's still good with other weapons, which I will get to shortly. So if I do a full combo with the level 1, it's about 31 there. I might have less stacks on the Sig, give or take a few points. But if I do the combo with level 2, 66 minus 31, that's 35. It's not actually that much more stun, but those intervals do matter on occasion for some enemies. If you're just getting into being able to grind out the high rarity discs, this info should be especially important for you. For Lycaon and other stun units, a choice needs to be made between having a bit more stun or a bit more damage, which is relevant because of how your stun character will be engaging with enemies for a similar amount of time to your attack characters. So, your best options would be an alternation between 4-piece Polymetal and 2-piece Shockstar Disco, or swap it around for the 4-piece Shockstar Disco and the 2-piece Polymetal. So one is more damage and one is more daze, which is more stun. With the game's 6-piece system, you would ideally farm both. So your preferred set may also change based on what substats you rolled into. One could be better, and then you would just pick that, because you should. W engines for Lycaon are pretty simple. If you have any of the 5-star ones, especially his signature, those are your best options. For free 4 stars, however, you'll only be choosing between the Steam Oven or the precious Fossilized Core. I'm a bit more privy to the Steam Oven, because the stun-related utility doesn't fall off. But if your DPS is good enough at some point in the future to steamroll enemies, just wipe them off the ground, the Fossil Core does just give you more impact, which is more stun. So select that one if you're that good. Select that one if you're a god gamer. Speaking of impact percent, you'll be looking for as much of this as you can. Your main 6 stats should be impact on your 6th piece, with ice damage and crit rate on your 5th and 4th piece respectively. Once again, you need this for maximizing the gain from your stunner's field time. Replacing your 5th and 4th with attack or penetration is also okay, and better if you can't bring your crit rate up to a substantial amount, because then you just won't crit. Don't worry too much about pieces 1 to 3, as their main stats are just locked in for the 3 flat stats you can get in the game, and for substats, just build more damage in whatever way you can between crit, pen, and other offensive stats, keeping in mind Lycaon is a pure attack scaler. Finally, for his talents, every agent should have their core passives at max rank, so prioritize getting all levels from A to F. From there, you can level his talents to whatever you feel like. Prioritize his basic attack and skill, but do keep in mind that any levels to any talent will increase the amount of stun he outputs outside of his ultimate, unless you end up actually using it on him. Check back in later for some more quick guides. Hope to see you soon.